He said, give me your money. I was like, what, excuse me? He said, give me your money. I said, no, I don't have any money. He said, I need your money. I said, I need my money too. He's like, no, give me your money. I said, what are you going to do with that stick? Hit us?
Midnight, West Philadelphia. We're cruising through the streets of West Philadelphia. It's dark, but it's getting more and more menacing. I'm looking around. Every building seems to be broken, every window smashed. The spectres are haunting the sidewalks. As we drive up to an intersection, suddenly a biker gang emerges. They're looking at us. I look through the rearview window. They've got chains in their hand. They've got knuckle dusters. This isn't good. We're on our way to South Street, but we got lost. We're lost in West Philadelphia. It's dark, frightening. We're a long way from home.
We pull up to the traffic lights. They're turning red, and I slow the car down. And Mark says,
Jeremy, put the foot down.
No, man, I've got to stop at the traffic lights.
Sod the traffic lights. These guys don't look good.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Just fucking drive. But it's red, he says.
I put my foot down on Rufus. And there's that pickup. Kicks us back in the seats. And we pull away as the light turns red.
I'm like, keep driving, put your foot down. The guys, we go through one intersection. It's red.
We go through the second intersection. It's red.
I look back. They're slightly behind us. What are we going to do? Take a right, Jeremy. Take a right.
Swing the Cadillac round, the screeching of tires like in an old cop movie, and we pull to a side street. We look behind us and the biker gang passes, not noticing that we've turned off. Hopefully, they don't find us.
So, how had we got to West Philadelphia, and why were we in that situation?
We'd left New York earlier that day, hoping to get down to Philadelphia to ring the Liberty Bell, which was cracked and hasn't been rung since the mid-19th century.
Yeah.
But by the time we rolled into Philadelphia, having got lost on the New Jersey turnpikes yet again, and had 6 hours of crazy 18-wheeler trucks surrounding us, we get to Philadelphia just as all the museums close. And I remember it was the 24th of July, and it was a beautiful summer evening, and the sun was starting to sort of come down in the sky a little bit. And in the window of a little funky boutique, there's a poster saying Maxwell.
Yeah, the R&B singer is playing in Philadelphia that night.
At the Tower Theatre.
Which we were like, well, can we get there?
It turned out it was a quick drive of about 6 miles straight down one of the roads. I think it was called Walnut Street or something like that.
And then we ended up in a place called West Derby, which is where the Tower Theatre, which we subsequently found out was actually a historic theatre which David Bowie played at, Genesis played at. But we didn't know that at the time. We pulled up onto a side street, parked the car, and we were looking like, well, you know,
let's go see if there are any tickets. Unlike with Solomon Burke a few days before in
New York, we'd seen Solomon Burke. You know, everybody loves somebody.
Yeah.
Fame.
Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs somebody to love. That was Solomon Burke, but we didn't get in because he was doing a release of a new album. It was a big comeback, and we didn't get tickets. But we walked up to the Tower Theatre, where it had a huge metal pylon on top with a tower written in neon, classic Americana.
And we walked in, and we got some returns.
Yeah, up in the gods.
Yeah, and we clambered up there, and we got there just as the show was about to begin.
We missed the support act. That didn't matter. I was fascinated to see Maxwell because for me at that time, I was really into the neo-soul movement that I'd seen D'Angelo a couple of years before on the Voodoo Tour, and Jill Scott and Maxwell, similarly superb with this kind of vibe. Like the Marvin Gaye kind of, ooh, yeah, I'm feeling the love, baby. Love you give to me, I need it, baby. Oh. It was so real, so late 70s and organic. That was the stuff that really got me going. And so I was excited to see Maxwell. He's an incredible voice. And he came on stage, just a single spotlight, and he did Kate Bush's Woman's Work. It was the first song.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Yeah, with that full string orchestra sound. And then the curtains parted, and there was a huge stage with like a 14-piece band. And I remember it was all very like beige, soft tones, like a style bar or somebody's beautifully interior decorated living room. And it seemed to be date night that night in Philadelphia. Everyone was out. And I remember him saying at some point, don't hate on me, boys. We're in this together. I'm doing you a solid. Gonna help you right out.
We were the only two white guys, single white guys together. So obviously, that was quite amusing.
Yeah, seeing as you got curly hair and I got straight hair, people don't think we're brothers. I'm like,
oh, you guys together? We're like, no, we're brothers.
Well, yeah, kind of. Together for a long time.
Yeah. It was an amazing performance, actually.
You found it a bit too slick, though, didn't you?
It's too slick for me at the time,
you wanted a bit more rock and roll.
I wanted some more rock and roll, some more like,
I loved it, though. It's all this smooth stuff. All sophisticated, jazzy, smooth thing. But what's fascinating about that whole neo-soul movement was it was so big and it was pushed so much to us in the UK, but in the US, it wasn't as big as we thought it was in the UK. It was very big in Germany as well.
Yeah.
But in the US, the mainstream R&B was a lot more effective. And, going back to what we're talking about, Alicia Keys with the sort of drum machine sound, I really like the sound of the live drums. And we started there we were there in Philadelphia, which is actually a fantastic place to see Maxwell, even though he's actually from Brooklyn. He more leans into that kind of Philadelphia soul sound than he is the New York soul thing. And Philadelphia soul was a big thing in the 1970s with Gamble and Huff and their record label. And they were playing Backstabbers at the beginning there, which is by the OJs, which was also then sampled and used as the inspiration for Angie Stone's Wish I Didn't Miss You. That I can't eat, I can't sleep anymore. Oh, you through the I wish I didn't miss you anymore. And Angie Stone has actually worked with D'Angelo, and they'd worked on his first record together. They had a love affair, and they did a lot of songwriting together. So this whole scene, and the Roots came out of Philadelphia as well. And they were behind Jill Scott's stuff. And so there's this whole little crew of people making this music that was what interested me the most. So seeing Maxwell there was something that really I felt was very important and exciting. And after we saw him, we
strategically decided not to try and find a hotel because it was like, that's going to cost us a lot of money.
Yeah, let's go and see what's going on in
and we'd heard about this place called South Street.
Second Street.
Was it South Street? South Street, I think. And we thought we'll go down there, we'll go to a bar, and we'll see where the night takes us.
And we leave the Maxwell concert again on a high, and we're like, we got the Maxwell concert, it's amazing. And we're only using paper maps, weren't
Paper maps. We're just using a map, which was a very poor map from an atlas.
And I think we took a load of wrong turns, and we ended up going deeper and deeper into West Philadelphia, as in West Philadelphia,
You're born and raised in a playground where I spent most of my days.
Yeah.
Shooting some hip hop,
Got in a fight, one little fight, and my mum got scared.
So you're moving to your auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
And so there we were in West Philadelphia, and there it is on TV. It's West Philadelphia, we're in West Philadelphia. And I remember the as you said, the buildings getting more and more dilapidated. They were beautiful buildings, actually.
Yeah, they
good
were,
building stock. Yeah. But again, brownstones with stoops. A stoop being a little staircase that goes from the road up to the first floor, where the front door of the house is usually one story up with the brownstones, and so people can sit on the steps, the stoop in front, especially in the summer. We're driving along, and there are more and more people sitting out on the stoops, and they're getting less and less friendly. And that's when we encountered our and biker gang friends.
Yeah, we met this biker gang, and they followed us for a number of blocks.
What's interesting about it is when you say biker gang, it makes you think of Harley Davidsons, but they weren't. They were BMX bikes, weren't they?
They were on BMXs, but there were guys with Alsatian dogs as well. And they were when we stopped at one of the intersections, they started to walk around the car.
Yeah.
And we were like, and I was like, Jeremy was sort of concentrating on driving, and he wasn't really aware that this was happening. And I just had to say, you got to floor it, because otherwise I don't know what's going to happen.
I was worried about getting a ticket.
But I think that actually, weirdly, I think we always thought that at the time we thought they were like going to rob us. But actually it might have been the opposite, in that they thought that we were actually possibly a rival gang or something of that nature. Because
or bringing a delivery.
Yeah, because we were driving this old Cadillac, you know, and people didn't drive an old Cadillac unless they were doing that.
I was reading a section in Losing Eldorado in the book earlier, where you talk about the history of the Eldorado, particularly as a mark of the Cadillac brands.
Yeah.
And how it was so influential in the 1970s within certain communities.
Yeah.
And how it became
it became the car which represented a certain lifestyle. And
status as well.
Yeah.
That you'd made it.
And it's an interesting thing with the Cadillac in general, because in America, it's easier to you show your status by having what sort of type of car you drive.
Yeah. Whereas in Italy, for instance, or Spain, it might be what suits you wearing.
Yeah, but in Britain, it might be what house you live in.
Yeah. But what school you went to, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. What school? But in America, it's and it's particularly in the black community, it's difficult. Like they actually resurrected Cadillac.
This was
in the 1930s.
During the Great Depression, Cadillac was about to fold, wasn't it? It was looking like it was going to go bankrupt.
And then they realized that one of their biggest audiences, or the markets was actually more affluent black people. And the problem was that the black people couldn't move out of their houses easily because of segregation. But you could have a car which represented, if you had wealth, you could put it into a car.
So a lot of the rising sports stars and music stars would use their managers to buy them Cadillacs.
Plus as well, also the Cadillac gave, or the car in general, but the Cadillac particularly gave them freedom. They couldn't go to a motel or a hotel if they wanted. They would go, they'd use a car.
Yeah, and you mentioned in the book about the film Green Book.
Yeah,
which is with Viggo Mortensen, which is an excellent. It
encapsulates that period in the 60s when there was still segregation in the South, and they used there was a book created, a guide to allow black people to go to safe motels where they weren't going to be persecuted.
Yeah, and this was what we were really starting to get with the trip. We were starting to get further south. I mean, we're still only in Philadelphia, but we were on our way to the Mason-Dixie line to get down into the South and really start to experience that stuff. So the sophistication of the Philadelphia soul, which was there in the 70s with the Gamble and Huff and the full orchestras that they put onto their songs, was still there in that neo soul thing. It was a continuation of that same vibe. Fred Wesley famously said that Philly soul put a bow tie on funk.
Yes. Indeed.
And so there's the funk underneath it, but it's just like it sweetens it and sophisticates it to such a level.
It's also like
some of the best music ever made.
It is some of the best music. It's also this bridge between 60s soul and disco.
Yep.
So it's those the sound of Philadelphia, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It then goes into disco, and we
also went into hip hop too, because one of those records was one of the major breaks that they used.
Yeah.
From the early hip hop records, because they're just so incredibly good. And for us, it conjured all the images of Jackie Brown, because the Jackie Brown soundtrack uses a lot of
Quentin Tarantino, like for us, like he created these soundtracks and all these songs, which were have now almost become classics, which I think at the time were known by certain people, where they weren't known by a lot of other people.
Yeah, he really brought it back, and Jackie Brown really focuses in on that more sophisticated sound.
Yeah, and so we learnt those songs through watching Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
And then when we heard the
Bobby
stuff,
Womack,
but then hearing the neo soul stuff, it suddenly was like, oh, that's kind of
Strawberry Letter 23. I'm doing there.
By the Brothers Johnson.
Those guys were from New Orleans, though, weren't they?
Yes, and then they ended up. I mean, one of the bass player ended up playing
Thunder
Thriller,
Thumbs. Yeah,
and
Off the Wall,
all that sort of stuff.
And that was where we were headed. We were headed to New Orleans, and it's like all of these different references we were touching on, but we were starting to really see the places. And there's that American summer has a smell as well. It's like this real smell of there's the heat. You can smell the pines and the firs. And it's amazing.
And it's clammy. It was hot.
It was clammy and hot, and the air conditioning didn't work.
So
we had to travel at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, and we would
with the windows open.
Yeah, and what we thought coming from the UK, where you open the window and it cools you down. In America, when you open the window,
as we got further south, particularly,
it didn't cool you down.
Oh, again, it made us hotter.
Made it hotter,
unless we were traveling at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, the car couldn't go that fast, and then we had these leather seats in the back. Anyway, we eventually got out of Philadelphia. We realised we got to South Street and everything was shut.
Yeah,
and we were like,
what do we do now? So we're like, let's just keep going. We looked at a couple of places to stay, and it was so expensive, so we just kept on the road. We're like, well, we're heading towards Washington, so maybe we'll pull off to a motel. And we kept going and going. We went as far as we could, but
we just didn't see a motel. We didn't see an opportunity.
We were also we
were absolutely knackered.
We were knackered and we were riled, weren't we? We'd already done 6 hours on the road. We'd done a big concert. Then we'd had this adrenaline shot of a few moments of real fear. And we were then on the road again. And it was getting darker and darker, and we were on the area from Boston all the way down to Washington, sometimes described as the megalopolis, isn't it?
Yeah.
This urban sprawl. And we were part of that, and we hadn't really got out onto what I felt was the open road yet. We weren't in that.
But we were falling asleep.
Yeah.
And you were driving, and you were falling asleep, and it was like 4 a.m., and it was taking a lot longer than we thought it would.
Yeah.
And we just like, what do we do? And eventually we pulled over.
We saw a rest stop. We pulled into this rest stop, which was a trucker rest stop, just right on the outskirts of Baltimore.
Yeah.
Famously one of the most...
Which is where the Wire's set and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's
crime-ridden places early
in America,
from the 70s onwards.
Yeah.
And we pulled into this rest stop, and we pulled into a parking space, which was triple length. Which we didn't realise why at the time, did we?
No.
Really. I mean, I think there were a couple of trucks around. We thought, well, look, we've got a big car. We can sleep in here. We hadn't slept in the car yet.
No.
We thought we'll just sleep for a few minutes in here. And we fell off to sleep.
I think I got in the back and you were in the front.
And you have to get into this really crushed up fetal position.
Yeah, because there was not enough space to lie out on the back. And anyway, we woke up at first dawn as the sun came up.
Sweaty.
And
it's like you couldn't see out because our sweat had created condensation on all the windows, so it was all fogged up. And we're like, oh, what's this? There's a lot of noise around us.
It was like, shh.
Yeah. And we open up the door, and we can't even really open the door to the Cadillac at this point because there are 18-wheelers on either side of us in everywhere that we can look for as far as we can look in either direction. And we go to step out of the car, and there are used hypodermic needles, condoms, and all other types of paraphernalia, as well as rubbish on the ground. So you can't even really step. We're like, we need to go to the toilet. We did go to the restroom, the rest area, didn't we? And it was truly one of the most frightening things.
Yeah.
And we were in one of the biggest truck rest stops in America, I think.
Yeah.
It took us a good 10 minutes just to walk to where the toilets were.
And it was and we were like, where are we?
Yeah, this is a place where bodies disappear and never.
Yeah, so we was
return,
like, and it was quite a it was a shock. And
it was a shock
from being in a brownstone in Brooklyn, which was beautiful. But we got.
So at that point we'd probably had 3 hours of broken sleep, and we got back on the road to Washington, and again super difficult driving. We were talking yesterday about the ways that navigation was difficult.
Yeah,
and in the UK, you tend to get signage on the motorway which says that there's a junction coming up, and then we have those nice little things which show 3, 2, 1,
go
300 meters, 200 meters, 100 meters. There's the turning. In America, the actual sign for the turning comes actually on the corner itself, if not past it. So you have to look ahead, see where it is, and that thing indicating the junction. That is past the junction. So we've already missed it. And that's what happened to us multiple times those few days. So we made our way into Washington.
We went to Adams Morgan because we were meeting our friends who had the brownstone in Brooklyn. They had a son who had an apartment in Adams Morgan, which is like a funky neighborhood of Washington. So we slowly found it, and we got there in the morning, like 9:30 or something, and he was about to go to work. And
so we parked our car up, and we went in to do some touring. And Washington's interesting, isn't it? It's built on a circle as opposed to a grid.
Yeah, and it's got and in the middle of it, it's got the Mall, which is this big green space. It's got the famous Washington Monument, and obviously the White House, Smithsonian's around that, and all the big monuments in general, war memorials. And so we went, right, let's go. We were super tired, but we were like, right, let's go and check out Washington. So we went for a bit of a walk, and we walked up the Washington Monument, and
it's hot,
really hot.
We're just really tired, really hot, and it's a good number of days now. We haven't slept properly, and we're there exploring American history, which is fabulous.
And we get this view of the White House, but it suddenly strikes us how dilapidated central Washington was
at that point.
And like, obviously September 11th had almost just happened, and there was huge concrete barriers protecting the White House.
Yeah, and a lot of armed police. And the other thing was that talking about biker gangs, the biker gangs in Washington were riding Harley Davidsons, and they were dressed as police officers.
Yeah.
And they were the Southern Star police officers.
Yeah, the guy who goes the tight trousers and the big leather boots and the white helmets. And
it does feel like Washington, D.C. is a quintessentially Southern city. It isn't the liberal Northeast that we'd been in.
No.
From Massachusetts and Rhode Island and even into New York.
Yeah.
We were now into the South.
Kind of, and it's on the border. Obviously, it's strategically placed there because of after the Revolutionary War, they wanted a place which was between the North and the South.
Yep.
And Washington was the place, and
Philadelphia was for a minute. New York was for a minute.
But then they artificially put this capital there, and they
in a
swamp. They drained the swamp.
Yeah, and it felt really swampy when we were there. It did.
But I do remember the grass being sort of brown. Obviously, it was summertime,
but it looked like it was quite comfy. We're like, let's just have a little nap. Yeah. So we were there in the mall or the mall. Under the Washington Monument, we decided to have a little nap under a tree. And we're lying there under a tree. And Mark...
I mean, bear in mind, in England, like, parks are used for recreational activities. People go and have a sleep in the afternoon in a park in England, or they go and play tennis, or... It's very genteel, you know? Mm-hmm. You know, you go to Regent's Park in central London, you're not going to get hassled if you decide to lie down. So we just thought, well, we're in the middle of a city, big city.
But yet again, you were more on it than I was. I was like, oh, we're fine. And Mark's like, there's that guy over there. He's walking towards us. I was like, nah, he's fine.
He said, oh, he's part of the recreational. He's one of the guys.
He's just a parks guy. He's like, no, he looks like he's got a big wooden stick. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure he's like, raking or something. He's like, no, he looks like he wants to come over here and hit us.
Yeah. We also, bear in mind that there were very few people around. There was some tourists, but not many.
Yeah,
there were policemen, but they were on motorbikes and they were driving backwards and forwards.
Yeah,
none of them was stopped.
We're kind of on our own, and I was falling more and more to sleep. And this guy came close. And Mark's like, "No, Mark, Jeremy, you need to stand up." I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I don't want to sleep. Shut up, Mark."
Yeah, and then the guy was like, then he got closer and I said, Jeremy, you need to get up right now.
He said, give me your money. I was like, what, excuse me? He said, give me your money. I said, no, I don't have any money. He said, I need your money. I said, I need my money too. He's like, no, give me your money. I said, what are you going to do with that stick? Hit us? He's like...
And he lifted it up like this.
And I was like, you're not, are you? You're not going to hit us with that stick. You're going to walk away. And he was like... But I want some money. And I was like, I can understand that, but you're not going to hit us with that stick. Because we both stood up at that point and it was like, oh, there are two guys here and
But I mean, if Jeremy hadn't stood up and hadn't got up, the guy probably would have.
Yeah, he would have tried.
I mean, who knows what
there we were,
happened,
suddenly in Washington, and we're like, oh my gosh, yet again, this is now hours and hours and hours of complete fatigue.
So we slowly wandered off the mall and eventually we got back to our buddy in Adams Morgan when he'd finished work.
And Adams Morgan, so we're talking about the pizza of Washington, and Adams Morgan's up in the northwest, isn't it, like this?
Yeah.
And that's like this. In those days, it was the area that was okay to stay in.
Yeah.
Georgetown University stuff around there, and everywhere else was very much kind of no-go area.
Yeah.
And the Mall sits right in the middle of that. But we saw some good blues and some good jazz, and we went hung out in Adams Morgan. Everything was cool.
And you ended up meeting a lovely lady from Maryland.
Yeah, I think she was working as a bureaucrat. Recently moved to Washington, and she was an ex-cheerleader. And
so we spent one night with our friend, or maybe two.
Yeah, and then the girl said, why don't you come back?
Well, then the following night he was going away, and we'd done the ceremony and we'd done a few sites, and we wanted to get on the road, but we were like, right. She said, you can come and stay with me. So I reluctantly had to go and stay with Jeremy and his new best friend, which was great because I got to hear him in flagrante, whatever, in coitus, because it was like a small sort of studio.
It was a studio, yeah, it was.
And
there was a curtain.
There was a curtain, but I could hear everything. And
that wasn't the point of the road trip, wasn't it?
So, well, yeah, and but the abiding memory was her saying, "You're really nailing me! Oh my God, you're really nailing me!" At which point I was like, "This is too much," and I went.
What I remember is you going. I remember coming to find you in the morning. I'm like, "Are you okay?" And you just come out the shower, and you were stood by the mirror, and the fog was on the mirror, and you'd drawn a big face with a big sad smiley face, but upside down like that. Sad face. I was like, Mark, should we go then? You're like, yeah, probably.
Yeah, and I'd slept in the bathtub.
You had? That was a door.
That was it. That was the only door in the whole apartment, which I couldn't, well, I could still hear them a bit. But I was like, oh, this is awful. And obviously we hadn't slept properly because we slept, the other thing as well, throughout our trip, we did stay with a load of people, but we actually 100% slept on floors.
Yeah.
Like, it was rare that if we stayed with someone, that they actually they never had a fold-out bed.
Well, they were young.
Exactly. So we literally slept on wooden floors.
Yeah.
And if anyone's ever done that, you know that basically you wake up with one side of your body and is like fallen, it doesn't move. And it's like got
and your back's seizing.
Yeah. So, it was pretty awful. Anyway, we got on the road and because we'd shown that we had a very good aptitude for planning ahead.
Yeah, we really were doing well with planning ahead. So now we're like, okay, let's leave Washington and all of these big cities behind, and it's time to go and go to the south, go to the Appalachian Mountains, with the bluegrass.
Yeah, and we were like, right, let's get to Shenandoah National Forest and let's go camping. We saw this. We thought, right, we're gonna go camping.
Yeah, let's go up into the national parks. And we were expecting the national parks to be somewhat like Euro campsites, where there are showers and there are areas to get food, and there's power and there's light, and we're going to be fine. We get there, and so we picked up a couple of pillows and a sheet, thinking that's all we're going to need, and we drove off into Virginia. Was it Shenandoah National Park?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Shenandoah National Park, and we were going down Skyline Drive. And as we got to, so we thought, you know what, we're going to go to a campsite. Surely, we'd been to campsites in Europe, and they have a swimming pool.
No, we were thinking there was going to be a swimming pool and stuff like that.
And there's probably going to be a disco, and maybe there'll be a bar. And you know what, we'll be all right. We'll sleep in the car if we have to. They'll probably have a tent place we can buy a cheap tent.
Well, we didn't want to tent. We were going to sleep in the car.
Yeah,
even though we'd had a bad time in Baltimore.
We were like, we'll be fine. So we drove into the park, and the park said...
it was about 7:30 in the evening, and we're driving up, and we're getting to the forest, this real open road, and it
starts to get windy, beautiful road, and we're driving up there.
But then as you get into the forest, it gets darker, and as the sun's going down, it's getting darker and darker and darker. And by about 9:30, it's properly dark.
It's pitch black, and we'd seen that there was a campsite. So we were going to this campsite. This campsite was like 40, 50 miles in.
It was 50 miles in at least.
Yeah, it was a long way in.
We didn't get in until 10:30.
And we hadn't seen anybody. We'd literally driven in. As we drove in, there was park gates as such.
And there wasn't anybody.
No one there.
No rangers.
Nothing. So we just thought, sod it. So we get out there, we can hear the crickets and everything. We drive up, and eventually we get to this campsite, and there is
nothing,
nobody there
at all.
And there is a bit of gravel, with a piece of wood, where you park your car, and a bit of grass, and then one tiny toilet block.
Yeah,
and that is it. And we have gone in.
We're lucky to have a toilet block, to be honest.
Well, we had no water.
Yeah, that's right. We hadn't bought water. We hadn't bought food. We hadn't got a tent.
We had nothing.
We didn't have... and so we stopped, and we're like, okay. And we got out of the car, went to the toilet. By the time we'd made it to the toilet, we had at least 20 mosquitoes on every part of our body. And they're big, slow... sucking. We're like, oh, God. So we jump back in the car, close the doors. So we can't even crank the windows open.
Yeah, so we got a tiny little bit, but then these mosquitoes are getting in. I go to the back of the car and
assume the fetal position.
Yeah, assume the fetal position, have this horrible, horrible night's sleep.
And we close the windows up. And again, it's even hotter than it was in Baltimore. And we eventually get to sleep. And we're woken by... Like, oh God, what? I turn, and through the fogged window, I see a park ranger, like proper Yogi Bear style park ranger, with a Magnum 44.
Yeah.
But tipping the gun, the end of the gun, right on the window. And I'm like, I open the door. And he's like, sorry, officer. What are you boys doing here? I'm like, we're here to camp. He said, you boys don't have a permit. I was like, what do you mean? Well, there's nobody in at the... we didn't see anybody since we drove in. We've been trying to... Why do you boys up here without a tent?
Yeah.
Are you boys lost? And he's still got the gun at me.
Yeah.
Right? And he could have been a lot more aggressive and got us to get out of the car and all of that, but he didn't. And once he heard our accent, I think it was clear that we were complete idiots.
And he revealed to us that basically we had come into the park after 6 p.m, which is actually, it's not illegal, but it's, you're meant to pay as you go in because they need to know who's in the park.
Yeah.
And it transpires, if you've ever done any research about the Appalachian Mountains or the Appalachian Trail, I mean, there's countless people who go missing every year in that area. It's like, it's the wild.
It really is.
And
Deliverance. We hadn't seen it at the time.
Everyone said
very good thing that we had not seen Deliverance.
Yeah, everyone said, this is like Deliverance, boys. You're driving across America in a Cadillac and, going through the mountains. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway. So, and he's like, and we're like, oh, we're really sorry. We'll pay whatever we need to pay.
You're going to have to drive 15 miles down the road to see Bob. Got the fill in the permit. They're going to have the permit. So where can we get some food? Like, 20 miles down the road at the general store. I'm like, okay, wow, okay.
So we get up and we are sweaty as anything. And he eventually rides off on his motorbike.
I think I've got the Tommy Hilfiger shirt on, and I'm like, and again, we don't have hats, and I actually think I created a visor using a piece of cardboard to protect my head.
I do remember we got out the maps and we were trying to work out where we were and where we were going next. And we were ready to go. We just like had like a wash and a basin basically, and no shower and such, and we just got ready to go. And
Mark was in the front, doors open. And I'm in the back, putting the bags in, and I'm like wearing the shorts and the Tommy Hilfiger shirt, looking like a beach boy with the cardboard thing on my head like this. And I'm like, Mark, drop the trunk.
Which had this mechanism.
Where are the keys?
Yeah. Boom. And the mechanism of the back of the trunk of the car was that it would it would go.
You gotta do that. You gotta, and there's this hand thing which came in and was like,
And it would then go down an inch, and then slowly it was like, then it was locked.
and as I said that, where are the keys? Mark's like, you've got them. I was like, oh no, I don't. They're in my other shorts.
And I was like, why are they in your other shorts?
Well, I changed.
Yeah, and I was like, why?
I was like, because they were wet, sweaty.
And I said, what was sweaty? He said, my balls were sweaty.
But they're in the trunk. You're like, what do you mean? It's like they're in the boot. But I just closed the boot. At which point we were all right. This thing's locked.
We have no other keys.
How do we open this? And it's got this protection mechanism where you can't actually open.
You can't open the boot, and you can't,
unless the key is in the ignition, and there's a boot release button, but it has to be with the ignition like on or ignited. It has to make the circuit. And we're like pushing it, and they're like, all right, so fine, we'll just like pop the back seats, like in a more, contemporary Japanese car, reliable vehicle that you can access your trunk at any time through your back seats.
I have an absolute hissy fit.
We actually tried pulling the leather seats out.
The back of the seats, the back seats.
And it was like a metal, not even a cage, it's like a metal coffin in the back of those.
Yeah, you can't actually even get into the boot. And there was no one around.
No one around at all. So we hadn't paid for it yet.
And so
and it was now midday, and we're sweating. We're at the top of the Appalachian Mountains.
Hungry,
we
dehydrated.
We haven't eaten since 5 o'clock the night before, with some Taco Bell probably on the road.
And Jeremy's like, you're going to have to go and look for help, Mark.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
So then Mark went off down the country road.
And... I walk off, and it was a good mile and a half, maybe 2 or 3 miles off the main road.
But so what are we going to do? We're going to have to find out.
Yeah, indeed. What was going to go on next?
Yeah.
Country roads, take me home to a place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. If you enjoyed this episode, please head to losingeldorado.com.
Where you can find out more about our adventures. More episodes to come, so you've got to like and subscribe.
Or you can go onto Amazon and you can order a book.
A book?
A book. Yeah.
Did you write it?
I did write the book, yeah.
It's really good, actually.
Yeah, and it helps me a lot if people buy it.
Please do. Support a starving artist.